Hello and welcome to another episode of Bare Bones Wargaming, a show with no bells, no whistles, no frills, just a man, a camera, and his game. On this episode, I'm going to take a look at a game that has sat on my shelf for quite a while. I'm kind of intrigued by it, so I'm kind of jumping into the deep end of the ocean here, but I figure, I've been playing war games now for, seriously playing them, I guess I should say, for nearly 30 years. So I don't feel so bad about doing this, and I really don't care in terms of being frustrated or panicky and stuff, especially all the different game system and stuff I've played. So I am going to be taking a look at and walking through with you today through Totaler Krieg. Now, this not to be confused with the Axis Empire Totaler Krieg. This is the original Totaler Krieg. Well, I think this is the second edition one from 1999. Designed by... I don't know if it's on the outside of the box or not. No, it actually is not on the outside of the box. I'm trying to think of everybody that was involved with this. I think Alan Emmerich was, and Sal... his last name eludes me now, but the guy who designed Unconditional Surrender, World War II in Europe. And I think there's somebody else too, and I apologize for not looking because I thought it was on the box. I thought this game was new enough that that kind of stuff would be on the back. But to quote the genie in Aladdin, wrong! So, what I'm going to do here is, this, of course, as you can see, is a strategic game of World War II in Europe. And there's different scenarios and stuff. But the coolest thing to me about this game, the thing that appealed to me, the reason I bought it, the reason I haven't really bothered with the Axis Empire one, although I understand this system I'm going to talk about here is coming out as an expansion soon, is the Dice of Decisions you can see there, which basically lets you run through history from World War I up until the outbreak of World War II, and can make some very funky starting positions. Okay. Now, as I've talked about before, I am one of those fellows who enjoys alternate history stuff. Some people hate it. Some people don't like Cataclysm because it can be very different than what you expected. Some people don't like Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere, one of the earliest videos I did, because you have the option to do quote-unquote ahistorical things, like attack the Soviet Union, which quite frankly was very interesting when I did that. I got to revisit that game sometime soon too. Not really into Pacific Theater World War II right now, but that is something on my to-do list here in the not too distant future. So what I thought I'd do is kind of walk through it, just kind of show you how it works, and also show you, how complicated it is. For those of you who might be thinking about picking up this particular game. See, now I feel bad about the designers. Hold on a second. Let me see. I'll be right back. Here we go. It's on the back of the rule book. All right. Development, actually. Sal Vasta. Vasta was his name. So, you know what? Since I feel so bad about this, I'm just going to show this right here. Here they are. The design and the development, and then some other folks that were involved. Test drivers, gag writers, and stunt crew. Well, that's different. Okay. Anyway, so that's who we're involved with here is Stephen Kosakowski. I think that's right. I mean, hope I didn't butcher the name too bad. And then Alan Emmerich I was right about, and then Sal Vasta was also involved in this, as well as Dave Casper. Wait, I thought he was Ghost of the Post. Anyway, and Stephen Goodman. So, those are the folks that were the design team for this. Alright. So, part of the reason I'm doing this too is just to see, is it is easy to go through, as it seems like in the example of play. There is an example of play in here about how to do this, and it does say, right at the top here, I don't know if you saw that in the shot a little bit ago, but warning, this should not be your first game of Totaler Krieg. Yeah, there's a lot of things I've been told I shouldn't do in my life, but yeah, I did them and have done them anyway. So, sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Alright, so here we go. So first thing we got to do is basically we begin with the basic setups that are for the standard game. So that's what I've got here for the time being. So I just put down the units. I'm going to allow myself to shuffle them when I get around to finding out what happened here. And one of the cool things about this is, and I'll just show you this real quick here before we get rolling dice, is you can have all kinds of craziness. Look at that. You can have a Tsarist Russia. You can have a constitutional Kaiser. What? And you can have a communist Germany. Deutschland. I don't know. What? Deutschland Workers Unite, I guess? I don't know. But anyway, that might be better to do it this way. But these three cards here, and then it tells you, you know, how you can change things here. So, that's really cool. Yeah. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of things that could have gone crazy. And again, and I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again because it just emphasizes the point. You know, people are like, that couldn't happen. Yeah, well, you know what? Nobody thought that Hitler and Stalin would sign that pact either. I mean, nobody thought... And this is not a political statement. This is a shock statement, so everybody just calm down. But nobody thought Trump was going to win the election either. So, you know, well, I guess his supporters did. But generally speaking, that was not the prediction of what was going to happen. So the right answer is not always the one that everybody thinks is going to happen. The Colts the Jets should not have beaten the Colts in Super Bowl III either. But we all know how that ended up, okay? So, yeah. Alright, so here we go. So the first thing we're going to do here is resolve the big one, the First World War. So our first die roll here we go, and it is a 5. So let's take a look here. I'm going to try and put this down on the map. It's going to be hard to do because the British are all over the frickin' Middle East. Well, you know what? I'll move them out for right now because they're in Alexandria and Cairo and Malta, which I think the entire free world knows that. So, here we go. So let's zoom in on this and we'll have the map as the background. How's that? Alright, so I just rolled a die. World War I, I rolled a 5. So, 5 is Russia is thrashed in Prussia and Poland. The Austrians make headway over the Carpathians. Yikes. Germany checked at Paris but established a favorable trench line position. Italy remains neutral until 1916. Roll on World War I outcome with a +1 die roll modifier. Okay, so a lot of that sounds familiar except for the Italy in 1916 because, of course, Italy entered World War I in May of 1915, if I remember correctly. I haven't studied World War I very much in a long time, although, funny thing, happened on the way to the forum. I actually am working on processing a trade right now, which is going to bring me 2 World War I games, the 1918 Storm in the West and the Battle of Verdun from Avalanche Press, which I swore I would never touch another Avalanche Press game again, but I'm backtracking because this game seems interesting and some of the comments on Board Game Geek were very positive from people that I respect, so we'll go with that. Okay, so we have a +1 modifier on the World War I outcome here. All right, and there are markers in the game, but I'm just going to use this die just because I want to. Okay, so next thing we do is we're going to roll in the outcome of the First World War with a +1 modifier. So let's see how that plays out. 3 + 1 is going to give us a 4. Well, this is all going to sound familiar. So far I guess this randomness is not being so random. Okay, Russia collapses from revolution in 1917. Check. Germany accepts an armistice in 1918, but has no seat at the bargaining table and peace is negotiated. That also sounds familiar. So now we're going to roll on the Russian Civil War and Treaty of Versailles tables. Okay, so let's see what we get out of that for that. So let me find those 2 tables here. So just give me a minute. Here we go. All right. So now we're going to switch cards, and again, I'm just going to put these down so you can see how all this is going here. Okay. So we got to roll on Russian Civil War and we also will have the Treaty of Versailles. So we'll do this in order, which, by the way, is important for this because, strictly speaking, you are supposed to do this in order. So that's what we will do. So the Russian Civil War. Let me come out just a little bit here, everybody. There we go. There's the Russian Civil War table. And let's see what result we get. It didn't say anything about a modifier. So it's just straight up die roll. Okay, we roll a 2 on the Russian Civil War. Alright, sure communist victory. Poland and Finland fight indecisive wars and end up negotiating for their independence. Apply Eastern Poland, Finnish frontier, Russian Baltic states, and Soviet Union. Okay, now those are things that you end up having to look up in the book, which the book, there is a reference book here to do all of those things. So let's take a look here. And let me see, under Russia, I'm hoping it'll be under Russia, that we will find all of this. Alright. Let's see. Or maybe it's going to be under Poland. Here we go. Eastern Poland. So it says the Russian-Soviet player begins the game with the Poland seated border marker in the seated border marker's holding box. Okay. So where is that at here? Let's see. Okay, so it's on the Soviet card. So in this game, there are cards for this. For the game to basically mobilize units and stuff like that, force pools, stuff like that. I mean, that's not, you know, just to show you what we're talking about here. Okay, so into this one here, the Soviet seated border markers holding box, I'm going to put that Eastern Poland marker down. So let me find that. Okay, so let's see. Okay, seated border. Eastern Poland. So Poland, unfortunately, has to cede the eastern border, at least for the time being. Okay, there's a lot of other die rolling needs to go on, so things could change here as well. Okay, Finnish frontier is another thing here. So Finnish frontier, Soviet player begins the game with Finland seated border marker, also same thing. So again, so that will begin in the box. Okay. What else does it say here? Russian Baltic states. Let's see. Russian Baltic states. Russian Baltic states. Okay. Russian Baltic states. Border. Scout is a seated border. And the Russian player begins the game with the Baltic states as a wholly incorporated part of Russia. Whoa. Ay, caramba. Holy smokers. Well, that's definitely different because, of course, the Baltic states, unless, of course, something's going to happen here afterwards, that is basically going to absorb them a lot faster than what actually happened after World War II, or after World War I, I'm sorry. There, let's see, what else comes up on this now? Let's see, and Soviet Union is the last thing to apply here, so let me look at the reference book again. And let's see, we're still looking at Russia. Soviet Union. Okay, this is the current Russian government. Place the appropriate die roll modifier on the Soviet political climate table. Don't write it on the table right away. You'll be instructed to do so later in the 1930s. Okay, so Soviet government is the government we are going to have. So I'm looking for the die roll modifier marker right now. Trying to see where that's at. And I'm not seeing it at the moment. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll keep going here. Again, part of the whole idea here is just to show you how this this is supposed to work. So I'm not sure what the die roll modifier is supposed to be because I don't see this marker. I'm looking at the Soviet part of things and I'm not seeing Yeah, I am not seeing it. So, okay. So we'll check that out later. I'll just make a mental note of that. And again, part of the reason I'm doing this video is just to show you where we're at with all this. Okay. So now we need to roll on the Treaty of Versailles table. So that'll be next here. So let's see what happens with the Treaty of Versailles. Or if you're from Pittsburgh, you know, you got North Versailles. Yeah, that's right. That's how you pronounce it in the burg. Citizens know that. Yeah, he's down in England now. He lives over in Cranberry. Alright, so we rolled a 1. Germany humiliated. Yikes. Austria-Hungary is dismembered. Turkish Empire seized. Yikes. France looks greedy. Whoa. Okay. Roll on the German Revolution. -1 die roll modifier. And World War I Western Allied might tables. Alright, so German Revolution. So we got to find that one first. So let me slide this out of the way so I can highlight this other one here first. So, oh wait, I'm sorry, the German Revolution is actually, that's on this same card. One of the things to think about when you're starting to do this all and stuff is that you need to kind of look at the cards a little bit first to know where everybody's at. So first thing we're doing is -1 die roll modifier. We're going to roll on German Revolution and then Western Allied might. So again, rather than using the markers as a reminder, I just prefer to use the black dice. So let's see, German Revolution, check, and Western Allied might, check. Okay, so we're rolling with a -1 on both of those. So let's start with the German Revolution. See what we get. Okay, well, we rolled a 1. You can't get any lower than that. So German Revolution, bloody civil war, rends fabric of German society. Roll on German Civil War table, which is right below it here. So with a -1 die roll modifier. So we'll just slide that down to there. And let's see what happens in the German Civil War. Okay, German Civil War, I rolled a 2, -1. We're going to have another 1 result here. Germany is dismembered. Land grab ensues. Apply French dominance, Greater Baltic States, and totalitarian Germany. Roll on New Central Europe with a -1 die roll modifier. Okay, whew, that is a lot. So we got to apply French dominance first. So let's see what French dominance is going to give us here. I could make a joke, but I'm not going to. I'll be nice. Here we go. French dominance. All right. The French border extends eastward to include 4 hexes of Germany. Woo. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark these. I'm just mark these with some blue dice to show what happened here. So let's take a look up here. Vive la France! Alright, so hexes 3620 and 3520. Let's see, 3620. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh. I almost need my, dang, man, I almost need my glasses. There's 3621. Okay, so here's 3620. There we go. 3520, which must be Saarbrücken here. Dun, 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 dun. And 3421 and 3320. So 3421 and 3320. Yikes! Look at that. Woo! Wow. So again, you can kind of see the appeal of this if you like this kind of stuff. As my 3-year-old would say, pretty cool. Alright, so let's see what else it says about French domination. Germany automatically receives her long war preparation. Replacements is still under occupation when the war begins. Alright, we'll have to kind of, remember that, so to speak. Let's see what also happens here. Also remove the 3 Maginot Line forts and the Pour la Guerre card from the game. So the Maginot Line is gone. Alright. And then these French corps that are here, whoops, that were stacked with them, they will end up setting up just like any other forces in the game. So that's a big change from the beginning of the First World War. So you know what, I'm going to leave one in Metz here. But then I'm going to put one up here in the new border hex space there. And I'm going to put one down here as well, so I can threaten the Ruhr among other things. Make the Germans sweat a little bit. Alright. Let's see. Alright, France has ever conquered, liberated, or collapsed. All French units attached to this card are also removed from the game. Okay. Alright. When France sets up, it receives 2 mobilization die rolls instead of the usual 1. Whew. So this French dominance thing is, that's a pretty big deal. Wow. Okay. Let's see what else happens. Greater Baltic States is going to happen. Here we go. East Prussia is considered part of the Baltic States, not Greater Germany. Whoa. It becomes a permanent part of Greater Germany the instant the Baltic States is either conquered or liberated by the Axis player, or by the Soviets. Place Greater Baltic States in commune as a reminder. Set up one less German 2-step army at the start of the game, and 1 German ultimatum card. Alright, well the only problem with that is the Baltic States have been absorbed by the Soviet Union. So, I wonder what will happen then. I guess Königsberg will become independent then. I guess that would make the most sense, as what this area over here is East Prussia will basically be independent on its own. So again, like you can see how like crazy this can kind of get. Let me see if I can find the Greater Baltic States marker. It's got to be around here somewhere. Let's see. A little intermission here. Just looking to see where the Baltic armies might be. That might give me a clue here as to where it is. Alright. Oh, there is a French dominance marker also too to help me remember all of this for the future. So let me punch that out real quick. There we go. Alright, so we'll put that on the Western Allies card here. Woo! Alright. That's nasty. Okay. Let's see here now. I'm still looking for this Greater Baltic one here, but I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing a lot of the other smaller country units and forces and things like that, but I'm just not seeing the Greater Baltic one. I wonder if it's the other side of the Soviet counter. That's a thought. Well, let me take a look. I don't see it. Alright, where's that Baltic one? Here it is. Russian Baltic States. Yep, that is the answer. Okay. So that's kind of an interesting, quirky thing. So again, I guess East Prussia is going to start the game as the Greater Baltic States. So, I guess to remind me of that, I'll put this on Königsberg. And then this little area of East Prussia, I guess, is what's going to be the Greater Baltic States, because the other die roll, they ended up absorbed. And then totalitarian Germany is the other end result of this, which is probably not going to come as a shocker to anybody. So let's see. Germany. Constitutional, diplomatic, flexible, imperial navy, peaceful. Sorry. Alright, this is the current German government. Place the appropriate die roll modifier marker on the totalitarian German political climate table, which is on the other card. Alright, but I don't know what the die roll modifier marker, I'm not sure what the appropriate one is. Is that the -1? That's already mentioned? Let's see. No, it doesn't say anything about that. It says the role in the new Central Europe with a -1. Okay, so we need to find, there it is, the new Central Europe table is right up here. Alright, so now, on to the new Central Europe table. -1. 4 minus 1 is a 3. Okay, so the new Central Europe table. Alright, we got a couple of things here. We've got Italian guarantees. Well, that's interesting. So we're going to apply Austria. Let's see what Austria says. Let's see. Alright, Austria begins the game as a neutral minor country. Austrian government marker near Vienna as a reminder. Okay, that's on the back of the Austro-Hungarian headquarters. Well, that's nice that they said that. On the back of the Austro-Hungarian headquarters marker. Because one of the die rolls here, you can have Austria-Hungary survive the war. Yeah, get a load of that, right? Either, you know, intact or smaller or whatever. So we'll put that on Vienna to remind us of that. So Austria exists. Okay, let's see. Czechoslovakia is the next thing we're going to look at here. So let's start looking up Czechoslovakia. Here we go, Czechoslovakia. Okay. Okay, so first thing we have to do is reduce the number of German Panzer Corps starting on the map by 1. So I'm going to go up here to Germany, and we're going to reduce this one here. So that German Panzer Corps is gone. Yikes. Let's see, what else does it say? German ultimatum cards. Alright, remember Czechoslovakia. Met Corps can be set up in any hex in Czechoslovakia unstacked. Alright. So Czechoslovakia is in existence, and they're going to have their dudes so that they can set up, so to speak. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound like Jeff Spicoli. I know those dudes. So Czechoslovakia is going to exist. So let's put that marker down. There it is in Prague. Okay. Alright, what's next? Croatia. That's interesting. Croatia. I'm looking alphabetically here. I'm going to guess I probably have to take a look under Yugoslavia as my guess here. So let's go look under Yugoslavia. Here we go. Yugoslavia. Croatia. Place the Croatia government marker near Zagreb. Alright, so I have to find the Croatian government marker here. There it is. Alright. Croatia begins the game as a neutral minor country and uses the Yugoslavian units marked with the Croatian green plus the Croatian Reserve Corps. Alright, so that's quite a bit here. So there's Zagreb. Okay. So Croatia exists. What else here? And Serbia. So let's look up Serbia here. What is left of Yugoslavia is now Serbia. It begins the game as a neutral minor country. Uses all the Yugoslavian units not marked in Croatian green. Okay. So, and for that, what they're talking about here, just to show you, is these units here. You can see all the dudes there that are in the green, and then, yikes, the ones that aren't in the green are all these other ones. So there's ones up here, there's one down here. Okay. Alright, so we'll put that in Belgrade because that makes the most sense. Okay, now we got to roll on the Ataturk table. Now the Ataturk table is right here. So we're continuing on here. Well, I guess I have the focus on Europe right now. Sorry about that. So let's roll on the Ataturk table and see what we get. Alright, the Ataturk table, I rolled a 1. Ataturk utterly defeated. So we're going to apply the reduced Turkish Empire twice. That sounds... wow. Okay. Let's take a look. Alright, so let's find Turkey now. Because we got to reduce their empire twice. Which means I'm probably going to have to move this card now. Turkish Empire. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Armenian, greater. Turkish, increase, reduce. Okay. Alright. Increase, reduce, Turkey. So highest is Turkish state, is Greater Turkish Empire, so not that. So reducing it twice. So second highest is the Turkish Empire. So I guess the lesser Turkish Empire is what we're looking at here. Alright, so now I gotta find that marker. Lesser Turkish Empire. I mean, I would assume that you start at the top and reduce twice. Alright, let's see. So where are the Turkish forces here? So I can do the lesser Turkish Empire. Spain, Yugoslavia, Syria, Bulgaria, Belgium, Turkey. Here we go. Wow, there are a lot of markers for Turkey. Let's see. Greater, Turkish Rome State. Here we go, lesser Turkish Empire. So we put that near Ankara. Okay. So then we have to figure out which areas of the Middle East Turkey controls as dependents. Alright, so that'll go on Ankara. So I'm going to have to move this here eventually before too long because things are getting kind of big here. Now we got to roll to see what they control as dependents. And what I'm going to do is use a yellow die to mark that because that'll be easier to spot. And then of course later on, once I finish with all this dice and decision stuff, then I'll take a look and put down combat units and everything else to get the game rolling. Okay, so let's see here now. Let's see. Roll an unmodified die roll to see which area controls as dependence. So I rolled a 5 for the Turkish dependence. So let's see. Iraq only. Okay, so they will control Iraq. Okay. That will be interesting. See how that's going to play out. And that's it. So that's the end of that particular sequence. And now let's go ahead and I think what I'm going to do, let me do a time check here. Yeah, we've been at this already for a while. So supposedly this only takes 15 minutes to do. That's what the rule book says. Yeah, I'm not buying that. Sorry. Or maybe not your first time. Okay. So let's go ahead and finish up. The other thing we had to roll on was the Western Allied Might table with a -1 modifier. So let's see what the consequences are of that. And then what I'll do next video is I'll pick up with part 2 to continue walking through this craziness. Sanity is for the unimaginative, right? So it's a 4 -1 is a 3. Let's see what that has to say. Alright, British strongly influenced post-war settlements. Apply British influence expanded. So let's take a look here. See what we get here in the book. And again, the stuff I'm looking at here, I'll just show you here with Britain. See, I'm looking at this reference book. So if you look here, you can see there's Britain. Okay, and then there's, like right there, there's the British influence expands. So there's a lot here, obviously, to remember. But, yeah. So let's see. Roll unmodified die roll. Okay. To see which countries begin the game as Western Allied minor countries. So let's take a look and see. Who is it? I rolled a 1. Let's see. 1 through 3 is Portugal only. Okay. Well, that's not bad. I mean, Portugal historically was pretty tight with the UK anyway. So now, of course, I'm looking for the marker, naturally. Which I don't see one. So I guess what I'll do is this. I'll just put 1 Portuguese unit down to remind myself in Lisbon. And that's that. Okay, so we rolled on the Treaty of Versailles table. We've got the Soviet Union and we've got totalitarian German political climate tables. Okay. Russian Civil War, World War I outcomes, Victoria's Central Powers, all that stuff. So we've done all of that. So now we're going to flip this sheet for the next video. And when I come back to you, we'll be doing the other side of this paper, which will be the interwar years here of the 1920s. That's where we'll start next time. So just to give you a little, I guess you could say, little preview of coming attractions. Let's just see what we're going to get here. Unmodified die roll. And the result is a 3. So, the League of Nations dominates. That's no effect. Well, you know what? Then screw that. Alright. Let's see. So now we're going to do with the 1930s overall economic climate. That'll be the next thing to do. Okay, I rolled a 2, which is a Great Depression. So -1 to the 1930s event sheet die rolls. Okay, so I'll mark that here with a black die. And then step 3 is the march to war. And that's where I'm going to stop, because once I roll this, then there's a whole bunch of stuff that will be implemented here. So we're going to have a -1 modifier to this. 2 minus 1 is 1. So that means we're going to have general insurrection. Now that sounds like it's, wow. There are 12 different things to do. Let me just show you here real quick. So we've moved into this here now, the general insurrection. And as you can see, there is a lot to do. Whew. Yeah, wow. Yeah, there's a lot to do there. So we'll do that in the next video. Okay, so let me mark it. So I'll know that's where we're going to start next time, is with the general insurrection table. Alright, so again, I hope this gives you an idea of the possibilities here. It definitely has started out to be most interesting. And we'll see in part 2 what happens as we get deeper into the 1930s. And then we'll also check on the state of the Russian and German governments, which is toward the end of all this die rolling, because of course those two of course were the main players. I mean, let's be honest, no disrespect to anybody else, but I mean, as far as shaping what was going to be World War II, you know, Russia and Germany were really the key sides here. Now, I'm taking a look at some of these things here about reducing some of these things. Whew. Wow, it's going to negate a lot of things. Reducing Austria-Hungary, reducing Turkey, reducing Western Allied might. Wow, Russian Empire is getting reduced, Russian government's getting reduced, reducing the German Empire. Wow, this could be like really wild. So, there you go. The beginning of the craziness. That is the dice of decision portion of Total Krieg. So I guess to German accent, Total Krieg. That is what it is. So, this is Tim Korchner from Bare Bones Wargaming, saying I hope you enjoyed the roller coaster ride. And as we get to the top here with our arms up and get ready to go down the track of general insurrection, we'll see how that plays out next episode. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.